Ay, 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 what is going on? Dang it. Never heard of them. You have no idea what you're talking about. Kaleb is back. Kaleb and I, my friend Kaleb Flores, just recently became an alumni of Illini Central. He's getting ready to head out for the Western Illinois University in Macomb, Illinois. Actually, tomorrow, doing something different at Western these days, not like it was back in the day when I went there twice. He's going to head over there for about 4 weeks and coming home and then going back. So, Cabes, here you are in my going to be way cooler when next time you come and get in this room. This room used to be the toy room for my kids, and I'm now making it into like a little podcast studio. So we got a nice window air conditioner keeping us, so hopefully that won't get picked up too much. Cabes, 1981. You were how many years from being born? Quick math. I'll let you think about it while I say I was 10 years old in 1981, or I turned 10 in 1981. Those of you who listen to these, Jerry and I always talk about what age we were, and that's one of the things I love about Cabes is here we're going to do a podcast about a year long before he was born.
25 years.
So 25 years later, you were born. I, again, was turned 10 in 1981. Usually Jerry and I talk about like what year in school that would be, but I'm not smart enough to figure that out on the fly. I should have looked that up, figured it out earlier. I will say this. You texted me. Maybe you've changed your mind as you were approaching today. You thought it was a mid-year, not a great year.
Well, considering the last year we did was
1984, right? Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
it's not even.
No,
really
there's no way,
yeah,
right?
So,
for me, when I look at it, though, the albums at the top are pretty good. There's some really good ones in that. There's some really good ones in there. If you listen to this and you grew up when I did, or you're younger like Cabes and you listen to a lot of music, it's a good year to look through and to try to find stuff. A variety of bands and some iconic songs, really. Some songs that you would probably say define like 80s music, and some of them, at least on my list, didn't even make it in the top 10, and they've got some iconic 80s songs in it. So I'm going to take Jerry Butcher's advice, and Cabes and I will start with our just missed list or honorable mention, whatever you want to call it. So Kaleb, we're going to run quickly through what are the 6 albums that didn't make your top albums of 1981 cut.
Okay. So for my first honorable mention, I have Get Lucky
by
Loverboy.
Right.
We were discussing this actually the other day. If this album would have had like 2 more good songs, it'd probably crack the top 10.
Right.
But it had, in my opinion, it had 2 hits. You would say 1 hit,
well,
and then a mid song.
It has 2 hits, but one of the 2, I take it or leave it. Maybe because it was so overplayed, like you couldn't get in your car, it seemed like, and listen to it and not hear.
Now, what you were saying about When It's Over is their best song. You're 100% right.
You're right.
But I think Working for the Weekend's a really good song too, and I don't. But also, my dad mentioned that you grew up listening to this music, so it would be different to me from my perspective because you've heard these songs a million times.
Right.
I've only heard them the fraction of
Yeah,
the times you've heard them.
that's 100% true. So my view of it is probably jaded by like what your dad said. And like Bunner said after we did 84, I have a sentimental thing with some of those to where you're just coming to them as a kid listening to music for the first time. Again, I've heard the song Working for the Weekend 9 million times. And it's funny because, like you said, I love When It's Over, and it's a way better song, in my opinion, but it doesn't get played a tenth of the time. So that's a good choice. It's not on my list, on either list, but When It's Over probably should have pulled it somewhere into that. your next honorable mention. We'll just run through all of yours, and then we'll
Okay.
go to mine.
I have Abacab by Genesis.
Okay.
And I know that just struck you in the heart because we were sitting in the library, grade school library, when we had tech aid together. And I know how much you feel about this album. I mean, I think it's good. It just wasn't. It didn't really stand out to me. Like Abacab's also a good song, obviously. Who Done It's okay. I mean, it just has a bunch of like mid songs to me, and it didn't really stand out. But it's good, and it was like almost there. It was almost there.
Yeah, I'm not going to kick you out of the house right now, and I won't discuss it because yes, I've told you before how much I love it, and it's on my list. So we'll discuss it when we get there.
My next is "Shake It Up" by the Cars.
Okay, it's also on my just missed list.
You got Heartbeat City, and this is not the best of the Cars. I think their debut album is better than this one. I think Heartbeat City is better than this one. I'm not sure. Hold on, let me look up the rest of their.
Yeah, I love the Cars, and we've talked about it. We both love the Cars, absolutely love them. But yeah, it's a mid album. It's got a couple good songs on it, but it didn't have enough to pull it.
Yeah, like their debut, self-titled, was better. Candy O's better. Heartbeat City's better. I don't know. It's good, but not good enough to crack the top 10, or even, I guess, over Abacab and Get Lucky for me.
Yeah, I would just say it's on my just missed list. Like I said,
this is I had to put it on here just for the fun of it, but I have Dare by the Human League in my honorable mentions.
yeah,
Don't You Want Me
right.
is amazing.
It's a great '80s song. Yeah,
And I think there was another song that was okay that I think I favorited, but other than that, it's truly a one-hit wonder song, like album.
yeah. That's 100% true.
I'm not sure how you feel about this one, but I also have Men at Work's Business as Usual in my just missed. Listen,
I won't talk about it because it's on my list.
It's probably like top 5 for you.
Again, back to the conversation before. It's a little bit of it comes back to the
Who
fact.
Can It Be Now? Banger. Down Under, banger. Be Good Johnny, banger. But like, it's not I don't know. It just doesn't click. But it's good, and I wouldn't disagree with someone who would put it higher.
Right.
But it's just not for me.
Right.
And then my last honorable mention is Tonight I'm Yours by Rod Stewart.
Yeah, we texted about it yesterday.
Just missed.
Yeah, it's not on my just missed list, but it's got a couple songs that I just absolutely love that would never skip. It's not on my top 10. There's some songs on there that take me back to being a kid again, and we'll probably talk about that multiple times. But yeah, it's a good list. It's funny it includes 2 of my top 10. So here's my just missed list. And I know my first one is something that you and your dad would never, ever, ever, ever listen to or have on anything. For those about to rock, We Salute You by AC/DC. You're not an AC/DC person at all. AC/DC is like cotton candy every once in a while. It's great for some people, but otherwise it has no value whatsoever. I really like AC/DC and always have. On my favorite songs of all time list, there's 7 of them on it, but it's definitely not one of their best albums, so that's why it's not on my list. Shake It Up. Well, I mean, you're not going to have anything to say about For Those About to Rock because you wouldn't like it at all. So
I actually did listen to it, and
Yeah.
I like the title track, but the rest I didn't really like.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's your dad's comment. I had it on cassette. I listened to it mowing the yard over and over, so I like it. Shake It Up. We already talked about it. I don't remember what other song. Did you mention other song that was on there? That obviously the title track is a really good one. Top 3 songs on it are on my favorite all time. Since You Were Gone, or Since You're Gone, Shake It Up, and I'm Not the One. I think those are all on their greatest hits, and they're all really good. There's not another song on there that makes my favorite songs. So no reason to talk about that one. What about Working Class Dog by Rick Springfield?
Didn't make it.
Didn't make it?
No.
Do you remember? Did you listen to that one? I'm not judging. I'm just...
It's probably Rick Springfield, right?
Yeah, Rick Springfield has 3 of his greatest songs are on it. One of them being an iconic 80s song. So, Love Is All Right Tonight is a hit. It's a great song. Jesse's Girl is the iconic song. I mean, everybody knows the song Jesse's Girl. And then I've Done Everything for You. Those are 3 really great 80s songs, and they still didn't. The album, and I was a huge Rick Springfield fan, still did not make my list. No comments on Rick Springfield over there?
I vaguely remember listening to that. Obviously, we know Jesse's Girl. I'm not really a big Rick Springfield fan. I mean, I probably haven't listened enough of him to judge.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to listen to it again.
He had a window of time in the early 80s where he was a big deal. He was a really big deal, and then dropped off pretty quick. Next, on my next Just Missed, Motley Crue's debut album, Too Fast for Love. Really like Motley Crue. Again, the 80s were a time where stuff like that, they were huge, and that was what got him going. 4 songs on my top or favorite songs ever. A song called Live Wire, Take Me to the Top, Piece of Your Action, and Tonight. Those are all songs that are in my playlist. Hear them all the time. Listen to that album quite a bit. By the look on your face, you're not a Motley Crue person. It's funny. I mean, for people that don't know you like I do, you do like Def Leppard. It's not that you don't like that type of music. You just... Motley Crue, they're not in that list for you.
If anyone were to tell me that Motley Crue is better than Def Leppard, they're just lying straight to my face. No, they're not.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, I don't think any of their albums are better than Pyromania or Hysteria.
Pyromania and Hysteria are the probably
that's
top
true.
albums of all time.
Well,
hopefully Mr. Bunner didn't hear that, because he'd be like, high and dry.
Well, he will definitely listen to this, because he will want to make fun of us. So I've got 2 more. This one I threw on because, again, first 3 songs are just amazing, and I want the number 1 song. I loved it. The first song is an album called, and it's not on your list, Time Exposure by Little River Band. Night Owls is one of the greatest 80s songs. I love it. Man on Your Mind, and then Take It Easy on Me. Those were all hits. They're K-Tel record songs. And then the rest of it. They've got some really good music. I don't know if you ever listened to the Little River Band. I'm sure there's people listening to this that will be like, yeah, they really remember those songs and grew up listening to them. My last one real quick got bumped off. It was number 10. It got pushed off because you reminded me of something that for who knows what reason wasn't on my list. Face Value by Phil Collins is my last Just Missed. First solo album by Phil Collins. I don't know if you've listened to a lot of Phil Collins. Those of you that are listening to this that have. His solo albums have some really good songs on them, and then they have some songs on them that really aren't very good. This one has 3. I Missed Again, such a great 80s song. Thunder and Lightning, which doesn't get played on the radio, but as I don't think I've ever heard it on the radio. And then clearly nobody thinks of Phil Collins solo stuff without thinking about In the Air Tonight. Obviously, it's one of the most popular, talked about songs because of the lyrics and the drums, and it was in Miami Vice, the show, and yeah, great song. Okay, album, Just Missed. No on the Phil Collins down there.
I like Phil Collins. In the Air Tonight's a good song. He has that song with Philip Bailey.
Easy Lover.
Easy Lover.
Mm-hmm.
Killer Jam. He's got that soundtrack on a movie.
Tarzan.
No. What is that? He's a song from a movie that I liked. It's not Tarzan.
Well, the soundtrack he did some songs for. I can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah. It's like
it wasn't.
It's like with the girl. You know what I'm talking about? They're on the
wasn't.
cover.
It wasn't popular. Oh no. Separate Lives. Is that what you're thinking of?
Ooh, he's got a song. Here, let me just look up my library. Phil Collins. Ooh, don't. Two Hearts. I have this song.
Yeah. Two Hearts was on a movie soundtrack. I don't know the name of that movie.
And then Against All Odds is another song I have.
Against All, yeah.
Yeah, that's the song I'm thinking of.
Then
his time in Genesis obviously was really great too.
Yeah, like I said, his solo albums could be really hit or miss with what was on there, and that is why it ended up not making the list. Now, why? What am I thinking? Am I not right about Separate Lives, that song? Can't spell the word separate. Yeah, it was him. It's a really good song, too. So anyway, we've messed around with what didn't make it. So here we go. Normally what we do is we're going to go back and forth. Kaleb will give me his number 10, then I'll go. We'll talk about them. If they're on either one of our lists, we will skip it. So
we're going from 10 to 1?
Yeah, going from 10 to 1. So, Kaleb, the 10th best album of 1981, according to you.
Okay. The reason I put this at 10, and if it was as good as all of their other catalog, it'd probably be higher. But since they have one of the best albums of all time already, I have 10 Ghost in the Machine by The Police. Now, this is lower for me just because, like I said, I mean, their other album, what's the name of it?
Synchronicity.
Yep. It's just one of the best albums ever.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest albums.
That puts it lower just because I know how capable The Police are making better music.
Right.
But this album is pretty good. I think I have like 4 songs saved from it. Let me look it up here.
Yeah, it's on my list, so I won't talk about it. It's coming up later on my list. But yeah, you're right.
I can't look at all. It's like bugging, but every little thing she does is magic.
Right.
All those other jams. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Put it at 10.
Again, like I said, I'll talk about it when I get there because it's on my list. So it's a good choice. I'm with you on that. Number 10 on my list is a solo album from Stevie Nicks called Belladonna. Stop Dragging My Heart Around with Tom Petty. That's one of the greatest 80s songs of all time. Edge of 17 is a great song on that album. And then Leather and Lace, where she does, Don Henley sings with her. So she has two of the 3 main hits are duets with other famous singers. And then Edge of 17 is just such a great song. By the look on your face, you don't have this on there.
I do, and it's a lot higher.
Yeah, so you're
I'll get to it when I get there, but you're gonna be like, wow.
Well,
I have this way higher.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm trying to remember whether it was this song.
But like for me, I think, well, I don't know. I should probably stop talking about it.
Yeah, well, we can wait.
We'll get there. But yeah, it's a great album, and I 100% agree with that pick too. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it.
I think it would be hard to not have that one on there because of how great those songs are. I was just Googling something that I was wondering. I couldn't remember if it was that song, or if it was another one that Prince helped Stevie Nicks on, and it was a different song. So anyway, all right, there's 10. So so far we have Belladonna from me, and we have Ghost in the Machine from you. So Kaleb, your number 9 is?
My number 9, and I feel like this is something that you wouldn't like, or you might like, but you might think it's a little overrated. Number 9, I have Street Songs by Rick James. It's a little sleeper pick. When I listened to this for the first time the other day, I didn't really like it, but then I gave it another shot. I got 4 songs from it. I've got "Give It to Me, Baby," "Ghetto Life," "Super Freak,"
Clearly.
come on, and "Fire and Desire."
Yeah, it was on my list to choose from, and obviously Super Freak was one of the most popular songs in the 80s. Great song. And he was definitely a character, and friends with Eddie Murphy and Chappelle. He's an iconic 80s person, but it did not make my list. But I don't begrudge you putting it on there. That's a good choice. That's a good choice from a 17-year-old kid to have on a list of 1981, 25 years before he was born. 18, sorry. I've had a birthday since last time we shot one of these. My number 9 is from one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Fair Warning from Van Halen. It's one of those albums that everybody knows 1984. They know the debut album. They know the ones that when Sammy Hagar got involved. Fair Warning is one of them that it actually says the F word on it, which is unusual because that didn't happen very often. I'm not saying that's the reason I picked it. I was listening to it the other day because another friend of mine and I are going to do a podcast in a couple weeks where we're going to do top 10. We're going to do a Van Halen draft is what we're doing. And so I've been listening to Van Halen a lot this week. The first 7 songs on Fair Warning are on my favorite songs ever playlist. That's why that gets you on there, because I just love those songs. I listen to them all the time. I'd say Hear About It Later, Unchained, So This Is Love, Mean Street, Dirty Movies. Yeah, it's Van Halen. It's David Lee Roth Van Halen, and I love David Lee Roth Van Halen. I will never not love that music. Just listen to it all the time. Now, my buddies can't. They can do without Van Halen. Love them.
So I don't have it on my list at all. But this kind of ties back to the Police thing. I know that there's better Van Halen albums, and but I do like Unchained, and I think the first song on the album,
Mean Street.
Maybe. What are the other ones? You have it pulled up, right?
Yep.
There's another one.
Mean Street, Dirty Movies.
Dirty Movies. I like Dirty Movies too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a great album. I love them. I love them, and it's a great one. And it says how much the ones is number 9, and I just said it had 7 songs on my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not always a rule, but
yeah,
it's good. Your number 8.
My number 8 is Freeze Frame.
Great choice.
By the Jays. Listen, I got to pull this up because I know that I had some songs favorited from it. Freeze.
Centerfold.
Yeah.
Title track.
Yep.
2 songs that, back to our working for the weekend, 2 songs that were completely and totally.
Angel and Blue. I like that one too.
Really?
You don't like that one?
I do not remember that one.
Really?
And I had it on cassette, actually. The song that I love now, that I listen to all the time, is Flamethrower. That's the song on there. That if a song could drag it onto my list, Flamethrower is the song. It is, I don't know. Again, back to that. I've heard Freeze Frame 10 million times. I've heard Centerfold 10 million times.
Right.
I don't know if I liked Flamethrower when I was a kid. I think I kind of did. But like at 53 years old, and you told me I had to listen to one song off of that, that's the one I'm listening to. But it's a good choice. It wasn't on either list. It's definitely, I understand why it would be on your list. My number 8 is Foreigner 4. This is the one that you reminded me of, and for whatever reason, I didn't have it on my list. I had this on vinyl when I was a kid. I got it for Christmas, I think. It starts out of the box with the first 4 songs being great. Nightlife is a great song. Here's an odd one. Jukebox Hero was one of those songs too that was on the radio all the time, but I don't look at it the same way I look at Working for the Weekend. I don't know why. Maybe I just like it better. Break It Up is a great song. Waiting for a Girl Like You is iconic. You know, I've talked about that song. It's an 80s iconic song. And then Urgent's the other one that was really, really popular, but it hasn't been ran in the ground for me. The rest of it is okay, but none of them, and I know you like some of these, the look on your face, I know this is higher on your list. So I know we're not going to talk about it now because of you'll say what you think of it later, but you don't agree with me. I can clearly tell you think it should be higher.
100%. 8? I mean, wow. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of your favorite albums from this year. You love this
Probably
album.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, your number 7.
My number 7 is Private Eyes from Hall & Oates.
Huge Hall & Oates fan.
I do love Hall & Oates. Now, this Hall & Oates kind of never really had, like, just a straight fire album, but like spread it out, and just that's where all their singles, and not singles, but some good songs came from. Like they always had like three good songs on each album, but then like there's always that hit that just makes them like that good. From Private Eyes, I have 3 songs, but they're just so good that it makes that number 7 spot. Private Eyes, the title track, I love it. I Can't Go For That, no can do. Come on. Who doesn't love that song?
Yeah.
And then I have Your Imagination, but not the regular version. I have the disco remix.
Yeah, we listened to that before the school year got out.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think it's great. Hall & Oates are awesome.
Yeah,
You got the vocals from Daryl Hall, and then John Oates coming with the rhythm guitar.
This is.
It's great.
I was telling you before we started. I've made some huge mistakes in doing this, like where I've left something or something. I look back on it, and the fact that this isn't on my just missed list or my list, like this is a total screw up by me. Because you're completely right. Number one reason why this is a mistake by me is not because Private Eyes. Private Eyes is a good song, but it's in a group of other good Hall & Oates songs. Did It in a Minute. Same way, it's in a group of others.
I had that one too. I forgot to say
that. You're right about Your Imagination. The other version of it is fantastic, but I am the person who thinks that one song can pull an album onto a list. I said that about Joe Jackson's song "Steppin' Out" on one of the first podcasts I did. The fact this is on my list makes me look like a dum-dum because I Can't Go For That is maybe one of my favorite 80s songs of all time. Like that song is just unbelievable. So, yep, good choice by you. Ignorant by me to not have this on my top 10. That was silly. So, your list already is going to beat mine because I left that masterpiece of a song off of it or didn't have it anywhere. No, probably not entirely true. All right, for me, I'll talk about an album you already mentioned. My number 7 is Ghost in the Machine by The Police. I love The Police. I always loved The Police. This one is very different. I mean, all the Police's music has a lot of different in it. So, how does that happen when I type that in there? There we go. You mentioned Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. That's a hit. Spirits in the Material World. That's a hit. Invisible Sun is one of my favorite songs of all time. I don't know if it charted without Googling it, but I love that song. Listen to it all the time. And then the funny thing is this one has 5 songs on my favorite songs ever. And it's the last 2, a song called Secret Journey and Darkness. I bought this on CD. I never had it on cassette. And I listened to those songs over and over and over and over again. And I know they're not hits. So, good that you had it on your list. I just had it 3 spots higher. So, Since you already talked about it, let's go on to your number 6.
So this one's probably going to make you mad. And I say that because this is our GOAT. But back to the Police thing and then the Van Halen thing once again. I have Controversy by Prince at 6. Now, this album is great by all means, but when I say it correlates to the Police and the Van Halen thing, I would rather have 1999 over Controversy. And
100%.
Yeah. And Purple Rain,
100%.
probably the best album
Yeah,
of all
I mean,
time.
that's
So it brings it down for me because I know the standards, and Prince is obviously a legend, Hall of
Right.
Famer. I like Controversy. It's not my favorite by Prince. I know my grandpa Scott really loves this album. Now, I will say the underrated song from this is Private Joy. I don't know if you really remember that one.
Nah, I don't have it marked.
But it's a great album. I have 5 songs from it favorited. I love Controversy. I love Prince. Prince is probably my GOAT of musicians. But I have it at 6. It's Controversy.
Yeah, it didn't even make my list. It didn't make either list. I agree. I agree with everything that you said. I have Controversy, Do Me Baby, and Let's Work. And even though those, it's just not, he is the greatest of all time. And I'm not even judging this album based off Purple Rain. That's not why it's not on there. It's because I just don't like it as well. It's not as good. The Controversy is not even one of his greatest. It's a good, really good song, but it doesn't matter. The albums you named, true. Yeah. It's not a bad choice. I don't love it like the other things that he has done. My number 6 for the longest time was right there about being number 1. Like, I would listen to it and think to myself, I don't know how I keep this album off of my top 2 or 3, and here it comes in at number 6. If you go to this artist thing on Spotify lists the top 5 songs, and 5 of the 4 of the top 5 songs are on this one album. So my number 6, all that lead in, is Don't Say No by Billy Squier. Starts out giving you In the Dark, great. The Stroke, great. My Kind of Lover, great. And then 2 okay songs, and then Lonely is the Night. Seriously? I mean, the rest of it's okay, but those 4 songs by themselves, again, I thought if I listen to this album while listening to some of the others, in 81, I'm going to go, I don't know how I don't put that. I just love it. I love that album. I don't know if it's on your list. I don't remember us talking. We've talked Billy Squier, I think. I know we did with Bunner one day, I think. This is a great album. Love Billy Squier. Had like 3 really good albums, 3 good albums. Good 80s artist. Terrible at making videos, but really good at that. On your list?
Number 5, I have Don't Say No by Billy Squier.
There we go. So we knew this would happen. So, eventually there'll be some. It's funny, so far we really haven't had too many overlaps, but now as we move on to your number 5,
I put this a spot up. You just named all of those songs, and I don't even have to list them. You were right about every single one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wait, there might be a song that I was higher on that was one of the mid that you said. Oh yeah, it's 2 Days Gone.
Yeah, it's
That's
an
the
okay.
one
It's a good song. Yeah.
I kind of put higher, which would have bumped it up a spot just because of that song.
Right.
But yeah, amazing album.
And to think it's a debut album too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of those things that you stop and think. You put out your debut album in 3 for 3 out of the box. Just great songs. That's just a terrific album. So that was your number 5, since I My number 6 was your number 5, so it's a good segue into. Here's the one I was thinking about this earlier. I typed it out in this way. This one you're going to really give me a hard time about. You're going to be like, you're an idiot. And you probably now already know what it is. I got Moving Pictures at number 5. I love Moving Pictures. I've listened to Moving Pictures. Your dad's really going to be giving me a hard time when he listens to this. I've listened to Moving Pictures a lot in the last few years. But again, it fits into it fits into my thing where the ones that I love, I absolutely love, and the ones that I don't love, I don't love. And it's not a shot at your fandom of Rush at all, because Tom Sawyer is one of the greatest songs of all time. Like, it's just, and you and I have talked ad nauseum about Rush because of your love for them and your dad's love for them, and I love them too, just not on the level that you guys do. I really like them a lot, but I don't have. That's where I have it. I have it at 5. Tom Sawyer's great. Red Barchetta is great. YYZ is amazingly great. Limelight is really good. And of all those, I love the Camera Eye. Like, I'll listen to the Camera Eye out of the blue just because of how much I like that song. I'm not a big fan of Witch Hunt or Vital Signs. So you clearly will be talking about this one later.
Yep.
And you clearly, like I said, think I'm a bozo for putting it so low on my list. So here we are. We're now into the top 4. I'm interested to see the things that you've already thrown out. What are going to be in your top 4 albums?
So
well, I know one. I know 2 of them. Well, I know 3 of the 4, I guess.
Here's a surprise pick. So at number 4, I actually have Belladonna.
Wow.
And you're probably like, what are you talking about, bro?
No.
But listen,
those 3 songs are great, but
I have, out of 8 songs, I have all of them favorited.
wow.
I liked all of them. Now, obviously, Stop Dragging My Heart Around, above the others.
Right.
Edge of 17, above the others. Leather and Lace, above the others. But all the other songs are good, and they're not, like, skip to me. Like, I could listen through this whole thing. It's only a 29-minute album for 8 songs, which isn't too bad. But I liked every single song on here, which is surprising to me because usually no album is really like that. So that's why I put it so high. Yeah. This album's great. And I really loved it, actually, because I liked all 8 songs from it. So I put it at 4.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I've got some friends who will, if they listen to this, will probably agree with you and think I'm crazy for having it as low as I did. She has the best voice, one of the best voices. 2 duets with 2 really good singers. Yeah, you're right. It's really good. It's a great, and probably, I don't know what it charted or anything, obviously being 10 years old when it came out, but it is very, 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 very good. Here's where you're going to give me a hard time, because my number 4 was on your Just Missed list. And you will be like, there's no way that's better than Moving Pictures. But Business as Usual by Men at Work is my number 4. And it's funny because it has one of those songs on it that, like Down Under, when you said that was good, that song is so overplayed and I don't like it. Who Can It Be Now? 100%. You were right about that. I remember listening to Be Good Johnny when I was a little kid, and that song, singing along with it. But it's the songs that I didn't listen to. There are songs on there that I did not listen to when I had that cassette as a little boy that I listen to now. So when I listen to that now, I Can See It in Your Eyes. I listen to People Just Love to Play with Words. And I listen to the last song called Down by the Sea. And those are songs that when I was a kid, I would fast forward past them or not listen to them. So that album has 6 songs on my favorite songs ever playlist. And I would probably skip Down Under if it came on right now. The rest of them, there's absolutely no way, and I might actually seek out a couple of those. So, thoughts on the fact that I put that album that you said just missed?
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say. Okay. I knew that Rush thing was going to throw you for a loop. So, here we are, top 3. What's number 3 for you?
This top 3 like had me sweating because they're all generational talents, and it was so hard to depict which one was better than the other.
I know what your top 3 are without even seeing your list. I'm just interested to see how it shakes out.
At number 3, I have Escape by Journey.
Interesting.
Now, I'm a huge Journey fan myself, and I feel like a lot of people I talk to don't really care for Journey as much as I do, which is weird to me considering Journey is a bunch of legends. Like Steve Perry's a legend, Neil's a legend. I forget their piano player's name, but he's amazing.
Is it John Cain or something?
Yeah, I think Jonathan Cain. And he's an amazing piano player and great songwriter.
Yeah.
I think he wrote like all Open Arms. I think he wrote Who's Crying Now.
I think you're right.
Like, he's underrated for sure. I have Don't Stop Believin'. I know you hate that song.
It's again, overplayed. Yeah, it's a good song. It's got
Stone in Love.
It's coming up on 2 billion streams on Spotify.
Stone in Love, 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Who's Crying Now, 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Escape, I like Escape. It's not nearly as good. And then Open Arms. Bro, you need a sad song to listen to. You're not listening to the modern day rap. You're going to put on Open Arms, the 2022 remaster from Journey, and that's what you're going to listen to. Because let me tell you, that's better than anything you're going to listen to nowadays. But yeah, I love Escape. It's probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I listen to Who's Crying Now probably every day of my life. Like, I'm not even kidding. I love that song. And I know you would say Stone in Love's probably slightly better, but I think Who's Crying Now is better than Stone in Love, just by a little bit.
Well, we'll get my number 3 out of the way right now because I have it at 3 as well. I agree with everything you said about them. They were such a big part of my youth. You're right. I get kind of clowned sometimes. Like, people don't, because they weren't hard enough, I guess, But so many amazing songs. It kind of goes back to what we're saying about Hall & Oates, too. Like, they have such a catalog of great songs. When you start out, you go 1 through 5 are on my favorite songs ever playlist. Don't Stop Believin'. You're right about Stone in Love. Stone in Love's the best song on there. Who's Crying Now is great. Keep on Running. I love that song. Still They Ride. I love that song. And then I jump all the way down to number 10, Open Arms. Yeah, that was a song Ron and I listened to a bunch when we started dating. So
Called
that's
it.
One of those songs that you're attached to because of what you were going through in life at that time. So yeah, but this was obvious. This was like 7 years later. But this is that iconic album, great album, so good. You called it. So now I have to wonder which one comes in number 2, because I know whatever you have for number 2, I will automatically know number 1. But I would bet some good money.
I spent a lot of time searching for the other placeholders and from 4 to 10 and my honorable mentions. This took me so long to actually decide.
To be careful, because are you going to get to go home and are you going to sleep at your own house tonight, or are you going to have to stay here because your father might disown you if you do it. If you pull the trigger on there's no way. Hang on to my chair.
This album has a special place in my heart, and if this other album didn't exist in this time period, it would 100% be number 1. I mean, to be honest, my number 2 could probably be number 1 in like any other year, other than '82, because Thriller is like one of probably the best album of all time. But this took me like a week to decide, man.
If you're listening to this, you don't understand how much Caleb's dad loves one of his top 2 choices bands, and he's grown up in a house that almost like growing up in this house, changing topics, but like if you're not a Lakers fan, you're leaving. If you weren't a fan of this band in Caleb's house. So Caleb, he's torn by this choice.
I'm really sad. But number 2, I have 4 by far.
No, yeah, I do. But you love this album. This is your album. You did the right thing at home. But you love this album. I've already had it on mine. I talked about it. You totally disagreed by the look on your face. But you love this Foreigner 4.
It's just, I don't even know how to say it. Like, it's perfect. Like, I don't know why it just hits to me. Like, Nightlife, banger. Jukebox Hero is overplayed, but I still get down with it. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. Probably lose like 2 points just because of how overplayed it was. Break It Up's good. Waiting for a Girl Like You.
Yeah, I know that's
so good.
Yeah,
man.
that's your track.
That is such a good track.
And I love it too.
Luann kind of falls off right there.
It's not a terrible song.
It's not tad, but it's not bad.
It's like we've said. You're comparing it like it comes after. You know what I mean?
4 good songs.
Yeah, and I mean it kind of you just got done listening. I mean, the way Waiting for a Girl Like You, the way that song's like that song, you're following that. It doesn't matter what song they would have put after that, it's going to not sound as good.
Urgent. Another 10 out of 10 song. I'm Gonna Win, not a fan. Women in Black, not a fan. Now this is the track that actually, I don't know why,
I think this is the one you sent
but
to me.
Girl on the Moon
Yeah, you sent this to me
is
one
like
time recently.
the most underrated song on this album, and I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Girl on the Moon. I don't know if you really listened to it.
I have. I had it on vinyl.
But
I listened to all of it.
I don't know why, but I think it's like not a 10 out of 10, but I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. This song is fire.
Yeah, you like that song. I know that.
4 is just, I don't know. Like I can't keep talking about it. I just love it. I might have to get a 4 shirt.
You do. You need a 4 shirt.
I absolutely love it. And in any other year other than 82, or not 84. So other than 84 and 82, I would have put it 1 any other year.
I knew what I thought your top 3 albums would be. And I just, like I said, I've already said this, but I just was wondering how it was going to shake out.
To all of, the kids as young as me, obviously most of the people that watch the podcast or listen to the podcast are probably your age. But if there's any kids 18 and under, go listen to 4 by Foreigner, and your life will be changed drastically. Not kidding.
You're a hell of a hype guy for Foreigner 4.
Come on.
It's good.
It's amazing.
It's good. It's good. My number 2. This is where our list. This is our list in the top 5. Only will have 2 of them that are the same. This album made your Just Miss list, and I know you don't, and I love it. Abacab by Genesis is one of my favorite albums of all time. I had it on cassette. I listened to all of it. And if you've listened to any of these, you've heard me say it 100 times. I'm the king of not listening to every song on a cassette. When CDs came out and I could skip all the time, I would do it. And this one is one I didn't. The first 5 songs are great to me. Abacab is I love that song, and a hit. No Reply at All, a hit. Me and Sarah Jane, I love that song. Keep It Dark. Neither one of those 2 are popular, but I love them. Weird title for a name, but Genesis at this time was still kind of coming off of that. Dodo and Lurker is a great song. Man on the Corner was a hit. You'd hear that on the radio, really good. And then Like It or Not. Love that album. Goofy album cover. I've actually thought about getting an Abacab t-shirt before, going back to your Foreigner 4 t-shirt. So I know you got nothing to say about Abacab because you already said something it's not your jam, so to speak. But you did shout out a couple of them, which is all right. So here we go. My number 1 and your number 1 are not the same.
No.
But I already know what your number 1 is. So Let me hear it. I know what you're going to say. I'm interested to see what you say about it.
So my number one is actually Damaged by Black Flag.
Right.
Yeah, I'm totally lying. My number one is Moving Pictures by Rush. That's a given. I mean, you probably knew this from when we actually decided to do 1981. Moving Pictures, dude, I couldn't tell you how many times. This was like, my dad used to jam this probably every day. Yes, my dad is a big Rush fan, so am I. Probably not as big as him, but it's like there. Tom Sawyer, Limelight, YYZ, Red Barchetta. I don't like Vital Signs. You're right about that song. I don't like it. My dad does. I don't. Witch Hunt, I like it live better, but on the actual album, if that's just what we're going to factor, I don't really like it. But when it's live, it's way better. And The Camera Eye, come on.
Every time.
Masterpiece, man.
Every time.
And
it's one that I don't even think they played on the radio. I wonder if
it's my clear number one.
I wonder. Yeah, I love it.
I
Love
Moving
it. Love it.
Pictures.
Love it.
It was 4 had a good fight, but just in terms of sentimental value and how much I listened to this growing up, I just couldn't put it over Moving Pictures. But
I think this is one of the cool things about our friendship and about the discussions that we have. Here's your T-shirt.
I'm buying
That's
it.
a good one.
I'm
I
buying
like
it.
it because
I'm
it's
buying
not
it.
it's not light colored. It's
Yep.
not light gray. It's a dark gray. You can't see this at home, but we'll get a shot of Kaleb one of these days wearing his 404 T-shirt that he's just found on the internet. What I was saying was about you're fortunate. I mean, my dad was a great guy, but he did not influence my music in any way, really. My parents listened to a little bit of old country music, but my parents weren't like music listeners like your dad was or is, or your dad is. And my kids have lived in a house full of music, whether it was old country like my parents listened to, or the 80s, or I mean, my kids listen to stuff that they heard me listen to. So you've had that advantage, and that's really helped you to be able to have these discussions. Like, I don't know if Lou will ever listen to this, but Lou never talks music with you and I. Like, he doesn't have that. You and I talked about Game of Thrones the first year of the class all the time. He doesn't have, like, you have the ability to talk about a bunch of different things because you've been influenced by your parents and by your dad's great taste in music. So, yeah, Rush Moving Pictures is great, and I remember it from when I was a kid. I don't think I ever owned it, but I do remember it when I was a kid. So now my number one, which didn't even make it to it didn't make it on to either of your lists. And speaking of parent influence, I think you've said that your dad's not a big fan of this band either, so maybe that's part of why you aren't. You have no idea what my number one is, do you? You've told me multiple times that they're overrated. I think you've said they're overrated, or that you just don't like them.
I don't know.
And it's not their greatest album of all time, but I love it. And I actually don't have the number one hit on it. The number one hit, the first song on this album, has been streamed 661 million more times roughly, and it's not on my favorite songs ever playlist because it's been played in so many gymnasiums at so many basketball games.
Hold on, let me go take a look at this real quick. I'm gonna guess this before you say it.
Okay, I'll hold off. I'll say this: it's got 7 of my favorite songs of all time, and like I was just saying, it doesn't include. It's one of their most popular songs ever that you hear in the gymnasium while guys are warming up for basketball. Oh,
no way. Stop. Is it the Stones?
Yeah. It's my number one album is Tattoo You by the Rolling Stones. The song Start Me Up is one of their most popular songs, and it's not even on my favorite songs ever playlist. There's a song called Hang Fire, great. A song called Slave, great. Little TNA, great. Worried About You, tops. No Use in Crying is one of my favorite songs ever. I listen to it all of the time. And then the other really popular hit was Waiting on a Friend. And Waiting on a Friend is one of my favorite songs ever. When I was going through this list, there was no way when I looked at it that any other album on here was going to be ahead of Tattoo You. And it's not even the greatest Stones album ever. I just love it. And I think it's the best. I think it's the best 1980 album put out in 1981. I was right. No, not a fan of. Because Dad doesn't like the Stones either, right? Yeah. So you wonder, has that influenced you? Like, because what are the bands that are there many bands that, I mean, there's obviously something that you like that your dad doesn't like.
It doesn't always it's not always like that way because my dad doesn't really like Floyd, but I love Floyd.
Blasphemy.
It is. I try to tell him.
Blasphemy.
I try to tell him, but.
My favorite band of all time.
Yeah.
So there's our list. It's been fun. I like doing this. The draft is okay too, but so now we've done two different styles. We've picked top 10 albums. Our lists were similar in some ways and different in others. I'm trying to think back to your list. Top 10. Belladonna, Foreigner 4, Ghost in the Machine, Don't Say No, Moving Pictures, Escape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 10 we both had. So it kind of went how I expected it. I knew what your top 3 were automatically, so it didn't matter. It was just what order, and I knew you would be disowned by your father if you didn't put Moving Pictures at number 1. So once again, Cabes, glad you stopped by. Glad you came over. Like I said, heading for WIU tomorrow. I'm sure your mom's going to she's going to listen to this. So I need to give her a little shout out advice. When I went to Western as a freshman, my mother packed a needle and thread for me in the stuff that I took to college. My mom's probably going to listen to this too, and I'm going to make fun of her here. She sent needle and thread with me. The first day of classes, there's one thing that she didn't send with me. An umbrella. And it poured down rain. I got drenched the first day of class. I could have sewn up a pair of pants. No, I couldn't have. I didn't know how to do that. Make sure that your mom packs you an umbrella. When you leave tomorrow, take an umbrella, or otherwise you will get rained on severely. Are you texting your mom right now to tell her to make sure you have an umbrella? Yes. I'm just saying. I'll never forget my first day of college walking to class. I mean, it was a torrential downpour. And if you know Western, you're not going to be housed where I was. Where's your dorm?
I don't think we know yet. I can look on.
It doesn't matter. But I know it's not going to be where I was, where you had to walk 1.5 miles to get to your classes, it seemed like. So maybe you won't need an umbrella. Maybe you can just sprint from Corbin and Olson over to wherever you're going. Little WIU talk.
I stay in Corbin.
So
for actual.
When you go there in the fall.
Yeah, it's like.
Are you Thompson?
Yeah, that or there's another one. I hope I'm in the other one because it's like next to my actual like classes for this first semester.
Yeah. Anyway, so Jennifer knows.
It might say.
Don't pack Kaleb needle and thread. He won't use them, but he will use an umbrella. All right. Well, it was fun. We will be doing this again sometime soon. We may not be doing this until after you've already went over to Western and then came back to visit. I don't know. We were both going to be super busy between now and the start of Illini Central school year and your Leatherneck beginnings. So thanks for setting in with me. Your list was okay. It wasn't bad.
Funny. It's funny when
I enjoyed many of your choices, and a lot of them were very on point.
Right.
On point.
Other than, putting Men at Work over Rush, but Hey, I mean, we're all entitled to our own
Yeah.
trash opinions. But,
Yep.
uh,
I knew that
I
one would
just
get you.
genuinely, I don't even know how you could think that.
I knew you would get. I knew that would get you. I knew that one
Yeah.
would get you. And it's not a shot at you either. I just really like that album. I really do. I really like that album. But I really like Moving Pictures as well. So, all right. Well, if you tuned in to listen to this, we hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to doing another one with my good friend soon. And we'll come back on another year. Maybe we'll talk something else next time. Maybe we'll talk sports or whatever. Life is a leatherneck next time. I don't know. We'll see. So thank you for joining me. I always say this at the end of every one because I think it's important for you to remember it. Remember, I don't know what you got going on, but there's got to be a lot of good. Focus on those things. Life is good. Thanks for listening.